It is Media Day for the 2024 University of Rio Grande women's volleyball team. I'm Randy Payton, joined by three players, and Amanda Rarick, Avery Huntsinger, and Jillian Gardner. We'll get to them here in a moment. There you get a look at them. And Avery, we'll start with you. A 20-win season last year. You reached the semifinals of the conference tournament before the season comes to an end, and you're back for one final go-around. Talk about the excitement of a new season.
Yes, we've all been really excited all summer, eager to get back here into the gym. We started this past weekend, and it's just all been going really well. We've been really working to grow our culture and make everything just really smooth this year so we can all fight for our common goal to keep going further into the tournament.
Kind of pose the same question for each of you two ladies. Jillian, what are you looking for as we go into this new season?
I'm just looking for, the culture, like Avery said. We're really looking forward to implementing a lot of the culture onto the new girls and just sticking to what we know and becoming better each day.
Amanda?
Same thing. Culture is really big for us this year. We've had a few practices, and I feel like we mesh really, really well. Yeah. And I'm really excited for this season.
You've got 5 of 6 River States Conference honorees back, including the Freshman of the Year last year and Kelly Stewart. You got an awful lot of pieces to work with this year.
Yeah, we have a lot of firepower. Right now it's just everyone finding their role and finding what pieces work together as we come to our first scrimmages and games coming up.
Amanda, you and Avery among the seniors on this team this year, kind of talk about the leadership part of it that you bring to the table.
So for this year, I think it's really important that we are, progressing, and the big thing for us is to be a role model to our teammates, to be a leader on and off the court, and just to make sure that our team stays, strong. We have that team chemistry that we want, and that will get us wins this year.
Jillian, really the same question for you. When you look down the roster, this is still a relatively young team, but you're one of the older players. Talk about being a leader this year.
Yeah, it's an honor to get this role. It's great to learn from these two, to see, what they bring to the table and just to implement that with the rest of the girls. It's a great honor to have, and I'm excited to roll with it and learn.
Practice, how's it gone thus far? I mean, is it you guys happy with what you've got accomplished at this point?
Yeah, right now we've been focusing on individual positions first, like in the morning, and then bringing all of the pieces together in the afternoon, and it's just really cool to be able to implement new things, learn new skills, and see how it works together. We have a very competitive group, and we've just all been really wanting to push each other to be better every time we step in the court.
I guess a question for Amanda and Avery, as seniors and your final go-around at this, what's this season mean to you? I'll start with Avery.
I just am really excited. Everything is like falling into place and where we want it, and it's just kind of surreal. It hasn't completely hit me yet, but I'm just excited to have fun, just make sure I hold on to everything that I can with all of the girls, and don't leave everything on the floor, don't leave anything up to chance.
Amanda?
For me, last year when we went to St. Mary's, we had the best energy after we won that game, and I think that's something we really want, and we want to get a ring this year. We want to make it to the final game. Also, our practices that we've had such good energy, and I think that's a big part of winning. So I think the energy that's been brought onto the court will help us, and I'm excited for that.
You guys all talked about culture. Jillian, I'll make this question for you. Talk about the chemistry that this team has shown thus far, and how important having a good culture is.
Culture is everything. I mean, it can really make or break a game. And it's just really important. You know, we set out those rules from day one, and all the girls are working together and just doing great with it. It's looking fantastic so far, and it's going great.
This one more question. This is for all of you. You win 20 games last year. Like I said, you reached the semifinals of the conference tournament. You got a lot of parts to build on this year. What's the sight set for in 2024? Can you guys reach the championship game and win the championship game in this conference?
That's always the goal. And this year, I think everyone is like eager to get to that point. Like, we're all fighting to get there. So that's very realistic for our future and exactly what we want.
Yeah, the majority of us are returners, so you know, we have a bad taste in our mouth from that last game. So we're hungry. Our goal is to get there, and I think with the group of girls that we have, we are going to get there.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that with this team, we can get there, and mostly with supporting each other, and I think that's a big thing that we need. We'll continue to support each other. As long as we do that, we should be good throughout the season.
Avery Huntsinger, Jillian Gardner, Amanda Rarick, their thoughts on this 2024 volleyball season here at the University of Rio Grande. We'll hear from head coach Belina Donaldson when we come back in a moment. Back here on 2024 Women's Volleyball Media Day at the University of Rio Grande. We're now joined by head coach Belina Donaldson. Coach, you've got 5 of 6 players who were part of the all-conference team back this year from a team that won 20 games. You got a lot of building blocks to work with.
We do. We're very excited. We're not in a rebuilding season, which is always a tough season for coaches. So we're very blessed and thankful for that. We're starting with a very good foundation this year.
Coming off a 20-win season, did you get more out of that team last year than you thought, or did you kind of?
No, we expected a lot out of that team last year. There were several returners to that team. As you know, we had a couple of injuries early in our season that we spent the next 4 or 5 weeks trying to overcome, and when we finally figured that out, we made a pretty good run at the end. So I think if we had stayed healthy the whole season, it would have been a little different outcome for us.
Talk about the returners that you had. We mentioned 5 of 6 that made the all-conference team last year. Jordan Brooks, Kelly Stewart were both second-team selections. Kelly was also the freshman of the year in the conference. And then you got some veterans in Amanda Rarick and Avery Huntsinger to go along with Avery Bruce that made third team. That's a pretty good group to kind of mold around.
It was a great group to mold around. I will say, too, last year was a year of sacrifices for our team. We had kids playing different roles. For example, Rarick played on a broken leg all year. People didn't really know that. They knew she was injured, but they didn't know how serious the problem was and that she was playing a little differently. But she was still able to make third team and be one of the stat leaders with a broken leg. And having her back healthy this year, we're super excited to remind the conference what we have in Amanda Rarick.
We mentioned you've got all these returners, but you've got some newcomers that you've thrown in the mix.
Yeah. So we're bringing in 5 new kids. We're bringing in some height. So we brought in 2 new setters. Lydia Stair is a freshman from Perrysburg, Ohio. She's 6 foot. And then we're bringing in a transfer setter, Elle McLaughlin. She's about 6'1". We're bringing in a right side, 6'2", 6'3", right side from North Carolina, Wilkesboro, North Carolina. And we're bringing in an outside hitter, Caitlin Coey. She is a jumper. She jumps really well. She reminds me a lot of Amanda Rarick as far as how well she jumps. She's a freshman outside hitter, about the same size as Amanda, not real tall, but jumps really well. So those are the newcomers, and we're excited about them. And then we have a DS also from Albany, Alexander High School, Trista Johnson. So we brought in almost every position a new kid too.
I think a lot of people may not realize when you're talking about the upper level of the River States Conference, all those teams are really good at the net. You talk about bringing in some taller kids. That's obviously going to be a big help.
Yeah, and height doesn't always mean, people talk about women's volleyball and how being tall is important, but as long as you're athletic and can jump in the NAI, you're going to be a nice player. But yes, there's not a weak team at the net or in the back row for that part. The RSC is very, very good conference, and I feel like we're getting better every year. Our top teams are making good shows every year.
There's a little different makeup to the conference this year. No Point Park, no Ohio Christian, and unfortunately the Kokomos of the world are back, and all those Indiana teams, which seemingly spit out good teams every year.
Right,
Kinda scout the conference.
Indiana's kind of a hotbed for girls volleyball, women's volleyball, and so those teams get a lot of Indiana kids, and their roster's filled with talent, good coaches. The coaches across the board in the RSC, I have a lot of respect for all of them. They're well-coached teams. The talent is there, but they're also coached well. So it's hard night after night after night to get wins in this conference.
Before we go, the girls all talked about culture on this team, and I want to give you an opportunity to address that as well.
So we've been talking about culture for years at Rio, and we've had a culture for years, but it's hard to get 19 young ladies from 19 different places to all have the same beliefs or ideas. So they came together and talked about, what is our goal? How are we going to get there? And culture played a big part in it. So we use the word culture a lot. We want to be mindful of each other while we're around each other. We want to find joy in the sport of volleyball and togetherness. Right. And we want to have compassion for people. We want to stand out off of the court with all of those things. So I think implementing those into our everyday practices and games and our mindset is going to help us when we're on the floor. When the girl next to me is having a hard time, if our culture is nice, joyful, mindful, careness, then it might change the outcome of the next play quicker.
Well, you've got a lot of building blocks to work with. Good luck as this season rolls
Thank you,
along.
Randy. Thank you. We're excited.
That's head coach Belina Donaldson here on Media Day. I'm Randy Payton, the Sports Information Director here at the University of Rio Grande, and that's the word on the 2024 women's volleyball season.